So at a time when India-US relations are yet to return on an even keel, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in India leading the largest ever trade delegation. So what can we expect from this visit? And is there a signal here for the rest of Europe and the rest of the world? Joining me here on this India First special is Ambassador Veena Sikri. Ambassador Sikri, welcome. Goods trade between India and the UK stands at about 20 billion pounds, services at about 32 billion pounds. What are specific areas you believe where the relationship can now take off, and can it help counter the impact of the US tariffs in the near future? I think you're on mute. Request you to unmute.
Good evening, Gaurav. To answer your second question first, I think, yes, this trade deal, a very significant trade deal, signed the Ceta, Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement between India and the UK, is precisely targeting 99% duty-free exports from India to the UK. And they're going to cover precisely those same areas of gems and jewellery, shoes, carpets, and so on that have been affected in the exports to the USA. So there is a big scope to redirect the exports from USA to UK. We also know that the President Putin of Russia has also offered to take a lot of goods. So I think this is important. But overall, this, as Prime Minister Keir Starmer himself emphasized, this is the largest trade deal, economic and trade agreement that UK has entered into after leaving the EU. After Brexit, this is their largest deal. So obviously, this is a significant indication of where the UK is looking for its future growth and prosperity. They are looking at creating jobs in the UK for their people through this very important economic and trade agreement. And also, I think that this will be a big focus, obviously, on the question of more visas for Indians. He's not willing to commit at the moment, but that will come in a later way. Now, if you have a greater number of, British companies benefiting and greater number of British companies willing to set up offices in India, now that itself will provide a lot of jobs for the same kind of people who go on H-1B visas and others. It will provide them jobs in India, highly paying, good jobs, very well qualified jobs in India, which is a very good thing. So I think this is one very important aspect of the agreement, and it's a combined economic and trade agreement. It's just not focusing only on trade, and I think this is significant too, because why just do only trade in goods? You got to do trade in services.
Absolutely. Goods, services, manufacturing. In fact, Keir Starmer has talked about creating not just more jobs in UK. India believes some of that manufacturing can be shifted to India, and technology initiatives. Now, that's something I want to really focus on. Will that spur ties, whether it's AI or quantum computing or cyber security? And, if I may, will this encourage other European countries to follow this template, that thus far, so near and so far trade deal with the EU? Is that also likely? Will they see this template and follow suit?
I think so, because Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has already said that the India-EU FTA will be done by December, which is just about 2 months away. So I think that, yes, it does have a positive impact. And I think the fact that Prime Minister Keir Starmer has brought this huge delegation, largest ever, 125 people, I think it shows the kind of companies, the best British companies are represented here, vice chancellors of universities are represented here. And that brings me to another aspect of UK-India cooperation, which is quite significant, very significant, is defense and industrial cooperation. The defense deals. Rolls-Royce is looking at the engines for the medium combat aircraft. Thales is looking at other, very high intensity, high technology missiles and so on, that it could do either joint manufacturing or transfer of technology, or, in the beginning purchases, but accompanied by, so these are very significant areas. And this is part of the comprehensive 10-year vision that India and UK have evolved for their bilateral relationship, which was when our Prime Minister went to UK in the month of July, when the FTA was signed. So the 10-year perspective is a very important one. They're working within a different framework. The UK sees this, and I think there's bipartisan support for this Ceta, Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement in the UK. It will be discussed in their parliament and approved, we hope, very shortly. And in that way, it will come on board, come into force.
Since you mentioned defense, when I was covering, just before the Kargil war, after the Pokhran test in 1998, our entire Sea King and Sea Harrier fleet was grounded because of Pokhran test, post-Pokhran sanctions. America imposed sanctions, Britain followed suit. So, British-made aircraft could not fly, or Hepters could not fly. In your view, given the current tensions with the United States, can we trust the UK and the US on critical defense technology?
That's a very important question. And I think that if such technologies, such manufacture or such purchases by India are accompanied by transfer of technology and accompanied by manufacturing in India, phased manufacturing, of course, it can't be done immediately, but phased manufacturing in India, like very much like what we have done in our agreements with Russia on manufacturing and then transfer of technology and transferring the manufacturing to India as well. I do think with the UK it could work because the British companies are very interested in it. So that is an important point. And they've shown their interest by coming to Bombay at this stage. And we do know that from the USA we have had delays in supply of engines. So that has been a very worrying factor. So it's we have to work with whoever it is ready to work with us on this.
What would it mean, ma'am, the last 40 seconds I have on this part of the show, on fugitives from law in India finding shelter in the United Kingdom? Commit a crime in India, in financial crime, and go enjoy life in the UK. Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, so many such instances. Does a closer economic cooperation also mean closer legal cooperation?
Of course, definitely. It's very much a part of it. And I think it may not be in the public sphere, but certainly in the private discussions, the one-to-one discussions between our Prime Minister and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, this will definitely figure all the issues. We do know there's a lot of talk that Nirav Modi is on the verge of being extradited to India, and just the final details are left to be tied up. Vijay Mallya seems to be a little more difficult, but still they will all be mentioned. And I think that this question of issue of Indian fugitives from the law will be taken up, number one. Number two, also the question of the activities of the Khalistanis in the UK, and the need to control their activity. There's another important issue because the UK is thinking of a law against Islamophobia and saying that, oh, you must not have it. But there's a lot of talk in the UK that the Hindus and the Sikhs are equally worried. That why only against Islamophobia? There's Hindu phobia as well. There's Sikh phobia as well. So all these religious aspects, when people, attack somebody or do violent acts in the name of religion, then I think
we've seen that in Leicester recently, Birmingham. We've seen this in the Midlands. Indians and Hindus have been targeted. People of Indian origin.
And we will certainly talk to the Prime Minister of UK about saying that, look, you must look at all religions together. You can't do one religion at a time because the issues are the same. And this pressure by the Islamic community there is trying to exclude other religions from this.
We'll be tracking that story very closely. Ambassador Sikri, for joining me here on this India First special broadcast. Many thanks.